it is very special that this year we are celebrating the day when H.H.Radha Gopinath accepted their prana pratishtha at our temple on the disappearance day of Srila Sanatana Goswami. In Krishna's, could everyone hear? In Krishna's eternal home of Vrindavan, the first original temple that is still present today was built by Srila Sanatana Goswami. He is our Sambandha Acharya, and his temple of Sri Sri Radha Madan Mohanji is the Sambandha Murti of our parampara. As the elder brother and guru of Sri Rupa Goswami, he taught us, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arranged it in such a way that his life, his story, is the precedent in which our parampara is built. Sanatana Goswami was from a very highly learned, prestigious Brahmin family. But due to circumstances, he had to serve the government in a situation where he was declared to be an outcast. In the process, he became very wealthy, very powerful, very famous, and most learned. But he and Sri Rupa Goswami, at the time, they were praying, crying to engage all of their Krishna-given talents in Sri Sri Radha Madan Mohan's service. When they first met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Ramakeli, they did not approach as prime ministers, which they were. They did not approach as billionaires, which they were. They did not approach as great learned scholars, which they were. They approached as the most fallen, with straw between their teeth, falling in the dust of the ground. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lifted them up and said, "Your humility is breaking my heart." And their wonderful prayers from their hearts revealed the nature of their devotion. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu later told his devotees in Jagannath Puri that when I saw the humility and the surrender of these two devotees, I personally empowered them with my own love and devotion. To serve Lord Chaitanya's mission, Sanatana Goswami was willing to go from his magnificent palace to a prison dungeon where he was shackled by chains. And with the help of his brother and his own good intelligence, he managed to escape. But now, from the leader of the state, he became a fugitive. He was hiding. He couldn't walk a main road. He was going through forests. And he met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Varanasi. Sanatana Goswami approached Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. People consider me a great learned scholar, but I do not know who I am. Nor do I know why I'm suffering. I don't know where I'm coming from or where I'm going or what I'm to do or not to do. Please instruct me. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu responded, Sanatana Goswami, you are so learned and so qualified, you are fit to be my guru. But it is the nature of a Vaishnava to be thinking, feeling, and speaking the way you are. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for 2 months throughout the day, on the bank of the Ganges, Ganga, in Varanasi, he gave his teachings to Sri Sanatana Goswami. Then sent him to Vrindavan. Now he's doing Madhukari. He's sleeping in forests, under trees. He's the crest jewel of renunciates. But yet, when a very wealthy person approached him to make an offering, Sanatana Goswami manifested Madan Mohan. And now it is 500 years later, that temple is still the symbol of Vrindavan. Srila Prabhupada explains there's over 5,000 temples in Vrindavan. And however extraordinary, large, beautiful, artistic temples are built, still Madan Mohan is the symbol of Vrindavan. Not because of its elaborate structure, but because of the feeling and the history manifesting from the devotion of Sri Sanatana Goswami. Madan Mohan, he would feed him with the simplest bhakti, some little ball of coarse wheat mixed with Yamuna water put in fire under a tree. And then the beautiful temple manifested. This spirit is the spirit Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has entrusted us with, each and every one of us. Srila Prabhupada, he also began his mission with nothing. And now we see there are hundreds of beautiful temples, tens and thousands of temples in people's homes. Incredible projects, millions of devotees, hundreds of millions of books distributed. But still, Srila Prabhupada would say, it is all by the mercy of my Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada would turn, even in the 1960s, early 70s, when his devotees didn't really know all that much about what is available to us now. He gave all credit to his disciples. It is all due to you, because you are assisting me in my service to my Guru Maharaj. What is the beginning of Sri Sri Radha Gopinath Temple? As far as we know, in this temple room, one evening we were celebrating Ram Navami, the appearance day of Lord Ramchandra. And a beloved disciple of Srila Prabhupada, His Grace Shyamasundar Prabhu, he helped Srila Prabhupada develop the second project in ISKCON in San Francisco. Then he was sent to London with 6 devotees and 1 devotee child to establish the temple there. And then he was brought in the original entourage that Srila Prabhupada created to come and establish the International Society for Krishna Consciousness in India. He was main organizer for the Cross Maidan Pandal program, which was the first time that Srila Prabhupada was actually speaking to large groups of people from India. He was also Srila Prabhupada's personal secretary for several years. So on this day in this room, he was invited to speak something to all the devotees. The temple was not quite as crowded as it is today, because we didn't have so many devotees at that time. But he looked out and became deeply emotional and revealed to us something we had never heard before. How we came to this place. Radharani and Gopinath know. This building was built at the latter part of the 19th century, around 1890s, as an orphanage. And in one sense, In 1986, we were, among whoever was here at that time, we were also something like orphans. So it seemed like Krishna had a master plan. It was the appropriate place for us to go. And at that time, Srinathji Prabhu and Maithili Priya Devi, they were taking care of the orphans by just coming and having some kirtans and giving some prasad on a regular basis. So nobody could have ever imagined, but somehow or other, through that one small room in the ground floor, it was actually one half of the room where the parta, the rear half of the parta, was all we had. And there were just a few devotees and a few congregation. I'm shy to say names because there's so many devotees who have been involved on so many levels that if I say any names, I feel bad I didn't say all names. But there were just a few people living there and a few congregation people around. And somehow or other, initially, everything was around the Lakshmi Narayan temple. And the plan was to build a roof there so that we could actually have a place that we could worship with, during the rains and everything. And the hall that we're in now is Tinkerbell High School. Very Vedic name. And there was Bola's classes and my own coaching classes, and there was a Ayurvedic pharmacy, and there was Camel brand stocking manufacturer, and there were so many things going on in this. This room was divided into 4 sections for 4 classrooms. And somehow or other, instead of Lakshmi Narayan, we decided, let us, before school starts, have our morning program on this side. And at that time, where the altar is, that was the end of the building. The room was 1/3 smaller than it is now. And in the backside, before the classes of Tinkerbell started, there was an international yoga studio. It was the Bombay division of Iyengar Yoga. And they had these chains coming from the walls where they would be hanging upside down doing asanas while we're in the front side chanting japa. In one sense, that was the front side, if we were the back, actually. And we'd have kirtan and japa and Srimad Bhagavatam class. We'd move the desks aside, and that's how we started. We never thought we were thinking, will we ever have anything more? There was no conception that we'd stay here, actually. And somehow or other, actually Srinathji Prabhu's influence and Krishna Chandra Prabhu's influence, their families, they convinced Tinkerbell High School, we'll build a loft downstairs and let us have this upstairs. And this room was very much, because it was owned by the orphanage, and 95% of the project was just occupied by other people, so nobody invested anything. Probably in almost 100 years, nobody invested anything in maintaining or beautifying this place. In fact, if anybody has any, I would love to see it. I have not seen any photographs before this place was renovated, because it was so downtrodden. I think nobody wanted to waste their film. And then I would be here about 10 or 11 months a year. And I went back to the West one summer. And I came back, and there were deities. So we installed them. And they were given the name Radha Gopinath. They were actually, as far as I know, they were bought for Janmashtami, because they wanted to, because nobody was coming here. And it didn't look at all like a temple. Still, the only sign outside was Tinkerbell High School and Bola's classes. There was about 2,000 students in the building, and they were not vegetarian. They would be eating all kinds of things all around. So, how to get people to start coming? So the thought was to get deities. Rohini Nandan Prabhu was there, and Mahaprabhu, and Devi Priya, and Palika. So the deities, what I was explained when I came, they just brought them here for Janmashtami to see if they can get people to come. And it was decided, let's keep them here. And they were installed and everything. And now we're at a Gopinath temple. And nobody knew anything about deity worship. I was a pujari, but my knowledge was quite outdated because it was quite long before. But that's how we began. And gradually, at the beginning of Radha Gopinath Temple, we'd come here on Sundays, a very small congregation. And every Friday we would be at Prabhu and Palika's house in Car Road. The whole community would meet there every Friday. And every other day of the week we would have a program at somebody's house in the evening. Usually we would have about 4 or 5 events every day. And in the evenings, it would be at somebody's apartment. So really, our temple began just going to people's apartments here in Mumbai. And that's actually where the congregation grew. It wasn't here. It was in people's homes. People would invite family, people would invite friends. And in those younger days, we'd get back, whoever was out preaching, there was a few, we'd get back around midnight every night. Then we'd come for the morning program. And the people who started coming to different homes in Bombay, flats, they started coming here on Sundays. And gradually, when there was more interest, actually from the beginning, it was going to people's homes and going to colleges. That was Radha Gopinath Temple. Lectures in colleges, cultivating college students, and going flat to flat to flat. And after some time, a wonderful community came. And it was built on the principle which in the early stages was extremely challenging. That how Srila Prabhupada appreciated every one of those devotees who were assisting him. He considered every one of his followers as representatives of his Guru Maharaj. And he was giving all credit to the devotees and to his Guru Maharaj. That spirit is actually, as far as I could see, the only qualification that any of us have for developing anything. To whatever extent we appreciate, we respect, and we're united in that level and willing to adjust to all sorts of different natures, different ashrams and different varnas for that higher principle. To whatever extent we do that, Radha Gopinath has blessed us. Gradually, at the beginning, there was some medical students, and they graduated. They got married. I remember Dwarkadish Prabhu and Madhavananda Prabhu, Vishwarup Prabhu, Giriraj Prabhu, Vaishnav Seva Prabhu, and then a little later, Kalindi and Kishori and Vrindavan Rani and Vishaka Priya and Shamarani, and they were married. Initially, they all wanted to be brahmacharis. We said, just continue and get your degree. They got their degrees. Then they wanted to be brahmacharis. Continue, get a speciality degree. Rajeshwari Devis. And they got their speciality degrees, and then gradually they were doctors, and they married other people, husbands and wives. They started simple practice of their own. And they wanted to serve Krishna and preach through the medical profession. They started a little clinic long distance from here. And that was the beginning of Bhaktivedanta Hospital. Now there's well over 1,000 people connected, employed at Bhaktivedanta Hospital. And they have like 100 preaching programs a week. And little by little, so many other temples. Krishnananda Prabhu and Radhesham Prabhu went to Pune, Vrindavan Prabhu. Actually, Pune began. One little flat here in Mumbai, connected to Radha Gopinath temple, was Janavi. And she moved to Pune and started such a beautiful community there. So how is it? We were here at this orphanage, and gradually, little by little, developing it into a whole community and a temple with installed deities. And gradually, with so many satellites and so many other temples connected to it, and more recently, Govardhan Eco-Village. Devotees all over the world who are coming from these temples. But it was revealed to us by Shama Sundar on Ram Navami that night. He was looking out at everybody and became very emotional. And said in I believe it was 72, when he was Srila Prabhupada's secretary, and Prabhupada was spending a lot of time traveling in India, Srila Prabhupada gave a lecture at Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan on K.M. Munshi Marg, which is, when there's no traffic, it's about 1.5 minute walk. And there's a recording of that lecture. There were some dignitaries there. Srila Prabhupada was honoring them. After the talk, they came out of the front entrance of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, and they were standing on the street right underneath the last step, waiting for their car to come and pick them up. It was a taxi, actually. They were just waiting. And Srila Prabhupada lifted his cane and pointed it right ahead of him. And he said to Shyam Sundar and the other devotees, "We should have a temple here." And Shyam Sundar Prabhu said he was pointing exactly where Radha Gopinath temple is with his cane. We didn't know that, but Srimati Radharani and Gopinath knew that. So when Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlad Maharaj, "Is your God in this pillar?" He said, "Yes." And Srila Prabhupada explained, to preserve the word of Prahlad Maharaj, Narsingadev incarnated from that pillar. To preserve Srila Prabhupada's prophecy, Radha Gopinath orchestrated, and we're all little puppets. How grateful we are that we can, each one of us, be a part of this plan that is infinitely beyond what we can do, what we know, or who we are. This festival is an opportunity to be grateful. To be grateful to our founder, Acharya Srila Prabhupada. I was speaking to the Brahmacharis a few days ago. How many of your parents or grandparents ever heard of Srila Rupa Goswami? Absolutely not a single one. And yet every single one of us are surrendering our entire lives as Rupanugas to follow in the footsteps of Srila Rupa Goswami. That is Srila Prabhupada's great divine grace upon us. It's brought us together. And when we remember those early devotees that assisted Srila Prabhupada in starting this mission, how grateful we should be. That's the quality of a Vaishnava. And within our own community, to all those who are with us today. Because the devotees who are on whatever level dedicated to serving today, they are maintaining and sustaining what Srila Prabhupada had given his life to give us. It is human nature. Sometimes we're grateful for those of the past, but we forget about being grateful for those in the present. In Srila Prabhupada's own words, you can show your love for me by how you cooperate with one another. Cooperation means to honor and appreciate and respect each other. That forms community. When Sanatana Goswami and the Goswamis were living in Vrindavan, they would regularly meet. And that Sangam, the place where they would meet at Sri Radha Damodar temple, is where Srila Prabhupada prepared to serve his Guru Maharaj with a worldwide movement. So Vaishnav Sangam is at the very heart of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. Whatever has been done in progress of Radha Gopinath temple or any of its projects, it's according to how we valued community. Now, a community is built upon individuals. Community is not an impersonal conception. To the extent individuals appreciate and empower each other, you have a Vaishnav community. Where brahmacharis are taught that the grihastas, they are so empowered. They could live with husbands and wives and still be Krishna conscious. They could be working jobs and still be Krishna conscious. And they're providing practically everything we have. The basic principle of Radha Gopinath Temple is the brahmacharis humble themselves to feel inferior to the grihastas and dependent on. And the grihastas thinking they have given up everything to serve Guru and Krishna, and we're so stuck in so many other karma kanda kind of activities. Grihastas humbling themselves and depending upon the spiritual inspiration of the brahmacharis. And because of this mutual respect, Krishna empowers. I remember Srila Prabhupada once when there was a conflict between the ego of who's more important, the brahmacharis and sannyasis or grihastas. Srila Prabhupada said Gadadhar Pandit was a brahmachari. Nityananda Prabhu was a grihasta. Srila Rupa Goswami's a brahmachari. Advaitacharya is a grihasta. Swarup Damodara Goswami's a sannyasi. Srivas Pandit is a grihasta. Who's better? Can any of us dare to say who's better? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, he was a grihasta and a sannyasi. He established the Sankirtan movement and defeated the Chandkazi when he was a grihasta. And he took sannyas to expand it more. Kolavecha Sridhar was an unknown person selling banana leaves. King Prataparudra was the king of all of Odisha, the director of Jagannath's temple. Who's better? When devotees humble themselves with a grateful heart to appreciate the contributions of others, then we have a community where individuals empower each other. And it is that principle, inspired by the desire, the inspiration, and the teachings of our beloved founder, Acharya Srila Prabhupada, that it's actually our only qualification here for all of us. And H.H. Radha Gopinath are manifesting themselves eternally as being more and more beautiful and merciful at every moment. That's the supreme reality that Radha Gopinath, their pastimes when they come to this world is to bestow their infinite grace. They come to this world to invite us to the spiritual world of Goloka Vrindavan. And we are all being given the opportunity to be a part of that pastime. As a servant of a servant of a servant to assist. The basis of Radha Gopinath Temple from the beginning has always been to help each other to be enthusiastic to chant the holy names of the Lord. To hear the glories and the teachings of Krishna. To serve one another and to share these principles with as many people as possible. Our first yatra was about 20 people. And during the first yatra, we had no arrangements for prasad. We would just be walking around from 4 o'clock in the morning till about midnight. And wherever we were at lunchtime, when we thought about it, devotees would just do some madhukari. And in Jagannath Puri and our last yatra, I was told at the evening gatherings there was over 12,000 people. And in one sense, devotees are thinking, it was so nice when there was 20 people. But the prasad is much better now. It's so nice when there's tens and thousands of people. What makes it nice? What makes it nice is Krishna's pleased. We may be thinking it was nice because it was intimate, or it's nice because now instead of 20 people chanting, there's tens and thousands of people chanting. But actually what's nice is that Radha Gopinath are pleased. And if we're sincere, the more devotees that come for the yatras, the more devotees that come to the temple, the more devotees have opportunities to serve. And when we're united in our service, and we're finding joy in seeing other people getting benefit, that's what makes it nice. To take ourselves out of the center of how we value what happiness is, and put Sri Radha Gopinath in the center. What gives them pleasure? I've quoted many times. Once Srila Prabhupada was sitting in the United States of America in Los Angeles, California. And he had a very, very beautiful room that he was staying. And he said to one devotee, "Do you remember my little room in Radha Damodar temple?" And in those days, it was still like an earthen floor. Srila Prabhupada said, this is very opulent, and that was so austere. He said, "I'm longing to go back there. But for me to go back there would be sense gratification. Because I could better serve here." So in whatever ways things are transforming, this is the standard that we always need to remind each other of. The value is to whatever extent we're pleasing our gurus, pleasing Srila Prabhupada, and pleasing H.H. Radha Gopinath. "36 years ago, in this little broken down temple, Radha Gopinath accepted their name." They're eternally Radha Gopinath, but still, Krishna humbles himself. We can name him, we could feed him, we could dress him, we could sing for him, dance for him, pray for him. And we've come to help each other as a community, to please them. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for sharing your heart with us and giving us core principles you always emphasized in all your classes. We again heard from you. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Now we have a video, and I'll request devotees to make space here so that we can arrange for the video show.